We are making Budae for the first time, a popular Korean dish you can find in many restaurants today. But what do you know of this dish's history?
Really good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Amid the hardships of the Korean War, this story traces how this dish emerged during a time of scarcity, evolved into what is known as army stew, and continues to be served today. Decades later, it remains a staple in many restaurants. Once a means of survival, it is now a dish widely enjoyed and an example of the enduring friendship between South Korea and America.
In plane-to-plane combat.
After the
But if the
Korean
enemy could
War,
escape
South
totally.
Korea's economy was devastated. Its infrastructure was in ruins, millions were dead, farmland was destroyed, and this tragedy coincided with bad harvests. Food was scarce, with almost a quarter of the population suffering from starvation. People used whatever they could find to survive. The original Budae was made using scraps from the trash outside of American bases and adding it to a kimchi stew. The earliest version of the soup included ingredients like toothpicks and cigarette butts. The people of South Korea rebuilt both their hope and their country in the hard years that followed. As time passed, the ingredients changed as people's access to food increased.
Then General Haig.
According to the Korea Times, Ujeongbi in the Gyeonggi province is the birthplace of Budae. It was home to a U.S. military base, and today the city government hosts a yearly festival celebrating the stew. During the festival, the many restaurants that serve the soup bring out a large pot and invite people to sample their version for free and vote which is best. It is like a culinary class wars, where people root for their favorite restaurant like it's a football team. There is even a street named after it, Ujeongbi Budae Street. Our team got to visit H Mart together. For most of us, it was our first time. It was the perfect spot to find all of our ingredients in one place. Budae is at its heart a fusion dish representing the Korean and US relationship, both our military alliance and the cultural exchange that comes with it.
Wow. They have like everything we need. Like they have the enoki mushrooms. They have these. We have cabbage. I don't even know what kind of mushrooms those are, but they're like exactly what we're looking for. It's the benefit of going to a Korean store.
The ingredients are the best example of how it is a fusion dish. Rice cakes, fermented vegetables like kimchi, Korean radish, tofu, and gochujang based sauce are all Korean ingredients. The sausages, baked beans, and cheddar cheese are American ingredients.
Perfect.
Spam is one of the ingredients introduced during the US military's occupation of Korea following World War II. Once, it was a treasured item on the black market because of how rare meat was. Now, it is a comfort food and appears in many holiday gift sets in South Korea. It's an example of how even the ingredients of the stew have changed from survival food to comfort food.
So right now we are chopping up our basically all of our ingredients except for the ramen. We're gonna chop it up and we're gonna place it into each individual piles in its pot. And then we're gonna add our soy sauce and our fish sauce and our gochujang over it. And then we're going to add 6 cups of water. So right now we're just chopping up all of our vegetables.
As you can probably tell, none of us have ever cooked Korean food before this project. A lot of these ingredients are unfamiliar to us, as was Budae before we started this project, let alone the dish's incredible history. Food is a great way to learn about other countries' histories and connect with other cultures.
Definitely growing up, everybody knew of Budae, which is the army stew as the English words or English label of it. And the reason why they call it army stew, which I'm sure you know, right?
Mm-hmm.
The American military was in Korea at that time. The Koreans did not have any form of um, protein, like in terms of meats and chicken. It was very hard to come by because it was a war. And I think that there was some Korean people working, with the Americans on the American base. And so Jjigae, which is a stew that people make in Korea without any meat sometimes. There's like
Mm-hmm.
kimchi jjigae, there's doenjang jjigae, which is soybean, and usually you don't put meat because it was very expensive at that time.
I didn't know there were different kinds of jjigae. That's really
Oh, yeah.
cool.
Sundubu jjigae, which is a soft tofu jjigae. There's many jjigaes. So anyway, I never grew up. I grew up I was born in Korea, came here when I was 5, and in my home we never in my all my years in the US never had pute jjigae at home. I
Wow.
would Yeah. Because it's not a jjigae that you would really eat
Mhm.
in a traditional Korean home. It was
Mhm.
also not a good reminder of those hard times for, like, let's say my parents' generation who was living it during the Korean War. I think so. I never really, of course, I've heard of it, but I never tasted it either.
Mhm.
It wasn't until much later in my life, and when it became more popular, and I was like, "Oh, what is this pudechige? Let me try it," kind of thing. And then I realized all the things that went in it and the history behind it. I'm like, okay, so.
Like, did you know about the background of this dish at all?
No, I didn't. I didn't, and I know this is you weren't expecting this. I haven't told you this, but I've actually been to South Korea.
Really? That's so cool.
Right. So I'm a student veteran here at Vanguard.
Yeah.
I was in the Navy, and one of my deployments, we actually passed by. The ship didn't actually go to South Korea, but there was a ComRail, which is a community relations
Yeah.
event. So basically, some sailors would go on a helicopter and go to South Korea
That's
and meet
awesome.
with their ROK, which is like the Republic of Korea Marines.
Whoa.
We cleaned up a beach, and communication was a little hard because not all of them knew English.
Yeah.
But it was very impactful because we went to this memorial about the Korean War,
Yeah.
and where both sides lost lives, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of connection there. So it was really neat because at the end when we were about to leave, it's a tradition that they had, and we liked, is where you trade something, like a hat, a belt buckle, something from our
Yeah.
uniform and something from their uniform.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so I know I gave a belt buckle and I got a coin back, and that was
Wow.
very meaningful.
Kind of like a challenge coin.
Exactly.
That's so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, we still have that.
We're here trying Budae Jjigae for like the first time the way it's actually meant to be tried, and this is so much like, how do I say this? This is
So good.
this is incredible. Like I feel like this is how it's like meant to be because it's like so much better than ours was. So I feel like our instructor was right in having us try it for real. I loved the rice cakes. I loved the way they made the broth was so good. It was so flavorful. What was your guys' favorite part?
I love the tofu. It was so soft
Yeah.
with the warmth, and the ramen was really good.
I can't imagine having this on like a really cold,
When
like
it's
Korean
raining.
winter. Yeah, it'd be perfect.
Yeah, the tofu was great too. I love the noodles, and
Yeah,
everything about it was a big step up from last
yeah,
time.
it was so good. Yeah. We were glad that we got to try Budae Jjigae that was made by professionals. It was delicious and it tasted a lot different than the one that we had made. Although the ingredients and meaning of the dish has changed over the years, Budae Jjigae still connects us to history. It is a reminder of the perseverance, resilience, and strength of the Korean people. And it is by learning about or remembering these stories that we learn to appreciate the past and the perseverance that shaped our present. We also get to see how food acts as a cultural bridge between our two countries and continues to connect America and South Korea today.